What's up? We got Supergirl Season 3, Episode 1, Girl of Steel. So this episode starts off with Kara in like this hallucination type dream where she's like seeing Monel, but then she sees her mom, played by everyone's favorite Smallville actress, Erica Durance. Actually, my favorite Smallville actress, Erica Durance, because I just love Lois Lane. So I just love Lois Lane. Erica Durance, good job. But that's when Kara gets out of the dream and fights the bad guy. But they're shooting at her, they're shooting at Alex, but she's able to dodge the bullets. And then when after saving the day, she's able to save some kids from being crushed. And they're like, Supergirl, you're our hero. But Kara's like, nah. And Kara just flies out of there and she's like, she doesn't even sign for autographs anymore. So yeah, so Kara's like, hey guys, what's the next deal? Because Kara, so they're like, so yeah. So they're like, how many long do we have to do to keep our distance from Kara? Because that's we've given her like a long time to grieve, but long time to grieve. So we see Cat Grant and we see Morgan and James having a meeting with Lena and James and all of his people, and he's talking about how Lena, about how they want to rebuild the sea. He's like, Lena was the one that supported Catco. So yeah. So then we see Cat Grant, and she's press secretary now, and James is now fully taken over the job of Cat Grant, and with Cat Grant as press secretary, and with Snapper on sabbatical because I'm guessing something happened to him off screen that we'll never know about. James is now, yeah, Kara doesn't have a boss, and her reporter boss is now on sabbatical. Okay, show. So yeah, so she's like, hey, so he's like, hey, you want to do that interview? You want to do that interview on? Ask Supergirl to do that interview on the Daxamite invasion, and he's like, yeah, I think Supergirl won't be ready for interviews. And he's like, okay, but you got to do that interview, Kara. So he's like, okay, so yeah. So yeah. Kara didn't want to go to the bar with Maggie and Alex because of the whole Mono used to work at the bar and yeah, so then Kara's fighting a bad guy, but that's fighting a Daxamite alien ship. But that's when who shows up? But David Letterman. But no, really wanted to use that joke. But then what happens is that James calls Kara using the emergency signal, and she's like, what's the emergency? He's like, I need you to do these papers. And she's like, really? And she's like, don't ever do that again. He's like, Kara, your main goal is as Kara Danvers. And she's like, I've been Kara Danvers for 15 years, bro. I don't need to be here. I need to be Supergirl. And he's like, you can talk, Guardian. He's like, I may be Guardian, but I like being James Olsen more. And she's like, well, I don't need to be a reporter. I quit. I don't need a reporter. I don't need his job. I quit. And he's like, Kara, you're not doing this. And it's like, yeah. So then Alex is like, you quit? And she's like, she's like, come on, Kara. I've given you your time to grieve. I've given you time to mourn. And she's like, I know you want to get over Mono. And she's like, get over him. He didn't break up with me. I sent him away. So she's like, come on, Kara. And she's like, Kara Danvers sucks. Supergirl is great. I like being Supergirl because Supergirl is great. And she's like, she's done being human. She's an alien, so she's done being a human. She should be what she really is, an alien. So yeah, so she's like, come on, Kara. Kara, and she's like, Kara, Dan, if there's anything you need on them, otherwise, and she's like, Kara Danvers, Kara Danvers is great. Kara Danvers has saved her life more than Supergirl had. So just think about that before you want to discard her. So then Maggie and Alex are talking about how they, Maggie's like, hey, Alex, I want to do this wedding? And she's like, no, I want to do the wedding. It's just like her dad not going to be able to be there to walk her down the aisle. But yeah, so then they run into a mom and her daughter Ruby, and Ruby bumps into Alex, and she's like, hey, don't say you're sorry. And she's like, sorry. So so they release the Girl of Steel statue, and she's like, that's not be ironic. A Luthor praising a Kryptonian, but Supergirl is her best friend. So Supergirl is the city's hero. So yeah, but then gets attacked. So even Jean says about how Kara was the one that helped him. So he wants to help her. So she doesn't discard. He helped him. He helped her out of empathy. So she shouldn't discard her heart. She should use her heart. So they decide to. So then there's an alien attack. So Supergirl discovers the villains are in the ocean. So Kara busts down there and defeats the villains, but she accidentally gets stuck in the ocean until Dream Mono is like, wake up. So she wakes up. So she wakes up and she realizes. So yeah. So she's like, yeah. So the mom, who we don't know her name, she uses her superpowers. She uses super strength to save her daughter, and so yeah. So Kara next day is like, or how long that took place. She's like, hey, did you not convince Morgan not to buy Kako? And she's like, Morgan didn't buy Kako. Lena bought Kako. And Lena bought Kako. So Lena bought Kako. So Lena bought Kako. So obviously she's like, hey, come on, Kara, you work. She's like, can you help me? She's like, I can't quit. She's like, I'm quitting. She's like, come on, Kara, you've worked with Cat. You know how Kako works. Come on, Kara, help me do this job. So Kara's like, the next day she texts her saying, okay, boss. Texts Lee and says, okay, boss. Then Kara gets her job back at Kako. And James is now out, I'm guessing. So what does James do now? If Lee, I was kind of questioning that in the Supergirl Season 2 finale, is that since James was the owner after Cat left, then Cat came back and she seems like she's owning it again. Now she's gone again, James is owning it, but now Lena's the owner. So what does James do? So anyway, so then Kara decides to go out with her friends and spend some time with them and hang out with them. But then we see a But then we see Kara's mom turn into this like demon-like creature. But then we see the girl, the mom, wake up, and that's the end of the episode. So this episode was a pretty good episode. I enjoyed it. It was a really good episode. As I said before, I did enjoy it. It was good. It's a pretty good solid start to season 3 of Supergirl. I'm glad that Kara became nice again by the end of the episode. It's weird that we got Erica Durant. We had Laura Berlanti in the last season, in the last 2 seasons, and now we have Erica Durant to replace her. So that means Erica Durant will now be taking the form of AI Laura now too. Yeah, but anyway, that's it. And it was cool seeing Chris Woods as this like dreamy ghost. But anyway, that's it because Chris Woods is Melissa Benoist's real life husband in real life. So anyway, that's it for this video. I'll see you next time for more season 3 of Supergirl.